Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Siti Aisha binti Aziz. You may address me as Miss Aisha. I am a certified mediator in Malaysia, having successfully completed the training and obtained qualification from the Bar Council Malaysian Mediation Centre. With a comprehensive understanding of Malaysian mediation laws and practices, I bring valuable expertise and 13 years of experience to this mediation process. I will be facilitating this mediation session with my co-mediator, Mr. Arif, who is also a certified mediator with 10 years of experience and training and who has obtained qualification from the Bar Council Malaysian Mediation Centre. The purpose of today's meeting is to address the issues at hand and to understand the issues through each party's perspective. Please introduce yourself one by one and the way you want it to be addressed.
Hi everyone, thanks for firing up your cameras and getting online this evening. I'm the restaurant owner of Antara Makan Sendirian Berhad, who is a tenant in Mr. Alex building, and all of you may address me as Miss Antara.
I'm Alex Tan, and all of you could address me as Alex. I am the owner of Double Story Shop plot in Damansara Heights Station, where Miss Antara is the tenant.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this session. I'm Gunawati Paramasivam from Messrs. Guna & Co., and I'm the counsel acting on behalf of Miss Antara to give her legal advice. You may address me as Miss Guna.
Good morning, all. My name is Iza Musa from Messrs. Iza Musa and Associates. You all are welcome to refer to me as Miss Iza, as I'm the counsel of the company for Mr. Alex for today.
Thank you everyone for the introduction. I appreciate everyone's presence today. With that, welcome to our first mediation session. Before we begin, I would like to state that mediation is a process where a neutral third party called a mediator helps people in a dispute to talk to each other, to understand each other's perspective, and to reach an agreement that works for everyone. The mediator guides the conversation, but the parties involved make the decisions. I would also like to emphasize my role as a mediator and Mr. Arif as a co-mediator, which is to create an open space for communication between all parties. We are neutral and impartial to the dispute between the two of you, and we shall not give you advice throughout the session. Each party may receive legal advice from their counsel. Please note that anything discussed in the session today is strictly confidential and not to be disclosed anywhere, including future litigations or arbitrations. With that, Mr. Arif, would you mind explaining to the parties in brief about the mediation? With that, Mr. Arif, would you mind explaining to the parties in brief about the mediation process before we begin?
Of course, Ms. Aisha, mediation is a voluntary and confidential process widely used in various fields, including legal, business, community, family, and interpersonal disputes, in which a neutral third party, known as the mediator, facilitates communication and negotiation between disputing parties. The goal of mediation is to assist the parties in reaching a mutual acceptable resolution to their conflict. It provides an opportunity for parties to maintain or rebuild relationship while finding solution that meets their needs and interests. In this joint session, each party are given the opportunity to make an opening statement regarding their disputes and the party want and the party needs to resolve their dispute. Please keep your statements focus on the issue at hand and try to express your feelings and concerns, which we will decide the issue in our agenda. Keep in mind that if any of you want a private session, you may ask for a caucus where we will meet both of you individually during the private session. You have an opportunity if you wish to disclose things to us that you want us to know, but that you do not necessarily wish us to disclose to the other party. We want to assure that what you tell us remains confidential unless you given consent to disclose the information to the other party. I and Miss Aisha, will try our best to give equal time and opportunity for all the parties to speak. More importantly, we will not take any sides during this session, and I do not have any power to force a decision upon you or decide how this matter should be settled. As we engage in this mediation process, it is crucial to acknowledge and establish the authority of each party to make decision and reach a settlement. May I ask both party whether each of you is the person that has the authority over this matter, as the outcome of this session depends on your decision and will defeat the purpose of our mediation session if today, if the authority is not within the parties. I invite both parties to openly discuss and clarify their respective decision-making powers and any limitation. By doing so, we can ensure that the mediation process is productive and that any agreement reached are within the bounds of each party authority. Please confirm with us that you have the authority to make a decision without the other consent who is not present for today's session.
Yes, I do, Mr. Arif. Thanks.
Yes, Mr. Arif, I have the authority to settle.
Thank you for the explanation, Mr. Arif. I hope everyone has understood the mediation process we are conducting right now. Alright, before we begin with our mediation session, I must remind all parties of the ground rule for our session today. To begin with, all participants must be willing to engage in the mediation process voluntarily. No one should be coerced or pressured into participating. Next, the information shared during this mediation is confidential. Besides, participants must agree to communicate respectfully and listen actively. Please avoid interrupting others and refrain from personal attacks. Participants must focus on issues, not personalities of one another. Participants should refrain from blaming or judging each other. Our goal is to understand each other's perspective. Moreover, all participants must be treated with respect. Disrespectful behavior is not allowed. Participants must agree to provide honest and complete information relevant to the issues at hand. This ensures an accurate understanding of the situation. Participants have the option to request breaks during sessions if needed. The mediator may also suggest breaks to diffuse tension or provide a moment for reflection. Lastly, all parties must commit to engage in the mediation process in good faith and actively working towards a resolution. Please kindly switch off the mobile phones or put it in silent mode throughout the session. Most importantly, please avoid using any sort of harsh word towards one another. Does everyone agree on that matter?
Yes, Ms.
I
Aisha.
agree.
Yes, agree.
Yes, I agree.
Before we move forward, may I please request a commitment from both parties to actively engage in the mediation process? Your commitment assures that we can work together towards a resolution. Are both parties willing to proceed with the mediation and actively participate in the discussion?
Yes, sure, Miss Aisha, I do.
Yes, I give my best to settle the issue.
May I confirm that all of the parties have signed the mediation agreement?
Yes, we have reviewed the mediation agreement and Ms. Antara has signed it.
Yes, I have
I have read
review
through.
and signed the mediation agreement with guidance and advice from Miss Guna.
Okay, sorry for interrupting. Yes, I have read through it and informed the matter, thus delivered it to Mr. Alex. He has signed it as well.
Yes, with guidance and advice from Miss Iza, I also have signed the mediation agreement.
I assume that all parties are committed to the mediation process. So up until now, does anyone have any questions?
All clear, Miss Aisha. No questions for now.
Yeah, so far no questions.
Same for me.
Yeah, you have made it clear so far. Thank you, Ms. Aisha.
You are welcome. All right, who would like to start first?
I would like to start first if it's okay with Mr. Alex.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
So to begin with, as a responsible tenant of Mr. Alex premise, I have paid a security deposit of 26,400 ringgit and I'm required to pay the monthly payment of 8,800 ringgit by the 7th of each month. In addition, I spent around 150,000 ringgit upgrading the facilities to conduct the restaurant business during the first 2 weeks of November. Despite repeated reminders and requests, I admit that I was late in paying Alex for the February, April, and July 2023 rents, as well as I admit my failure in settling the September and October 2023 rentals due to my business being at a loss, which is now gradually improving. Regardless of my loss, I was nevertheless able to make a payment, albeit delayed. That's my best I could do on my part. Unfortunately, Mr. Alex Tan's property agent locked the property, evicted me, and assumed empty possession. Due to the conduct, I experienced damages and costs totaling 250,000 ringgit. Therefore, I wish that Mr. Alex could allow me to rebuild my business as I already suffered losses. Besides, I would appreciate a little more time for me to settle down my outstanding amount as stated. I humbly seek Mr. Alex's consideration since I also did my best on my part, but the fate seems against me. Ms. Guna, would you help me to elaborate further on the part of
Yes, certainly, Miss Antara. I want Miss Aisha and Mr. Harif to take note that despite facing certain financial challenges, my client Miss Antara diligently addressed the delay in rental payments. It's essential to clarify that while Miss Antara experienced delay in paying the rental for February, April, and July 2023, she still has settled the outstanding amounts for those 3 months. Furthermore, my client has acknowledged that there were issues with the rental for September and October 2023, and those payments were unfortunately not made within the stipulated time frame due to financial difficulties. However, I do like to bring to your attention that the security deposit paid by Ms. Antara can potentially cover the rental for September and October 2023, rather than resorting to force Ms. Antara out of the premise and taking vacant possession, which has caused additional losses for Ms. Antara for a sum of 250,000 ringgit Malaysia. Ms. Antara is seeking a fair resolution that allows her to rebuild the business after facing significant losses. She also requires a bit more time to settle the outstanding amount, considering the challenges she has been through. We hope Mr. Alex can consider these factors and work towards a solution that benefits both parties. That's conclude my clarification on this matter, Ms. Aisha and Mr. Harif.
Thank you, Ms. Antara and Ms. Guna. Let me summarize your opening statement. I can see that, Ms. Antara, you have done everything to meet the tenant agreement with Mr. Alex. You also have done renovation for a cost RM 150,000 in upgrading the facilities to conduct the restaurant business. I can see that you're also struggling to pay the rent back in February, April, and July 2023. We also gave a yearly notice to Mr. Alex that there has been some financial issue that caused the delay in payment. Although there is a financial crisis, you still paid the rent to the Mr. Alex. I understand that you are committed to settling the rent payment and want to continue this landlord-tenant relationship. Ms. Antara, you also acknowledge that there is non-payment for 2 months, and Ms. Guna has highlighted that a security deposit of 26,400 can cover the 2-month rental that costs around 17,600. I understand your frustration that you can't continue your business. Property agents also conduct incur Antara Sdn Berhad additional losses for a sum of 250,000. His notice and request only for demanding the payment of the rent. It sounds like Mrs. Antara will appreciate a little more time for her to settle down the outstanding amount. Mr. Alex, do you understand the issue from Miss Antara's perspective?
Yes, I do.
Now, Mr. Alex, please share your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Arif. So, Miss Antara has consistently late in paying the rent with default in February 2023, April 2023, and July 2023. Additionally, there were no payment for the month of September and October of 2023, despite multiple reminder and demand by me. This had a significant impact on my financial situation. Given the persistent non-payment of rent and the breach of our tenancy agreement, my property agent took the step of locking the premises as a last resort to protect my interests. I believe this action was in accordance with the term outlined in our agreement. Am I right, Ms. Iza?
Yes, Mr. Alex. Ms. Aisha and Ms. Arif, it is a matter of fact that Ms. Antara's company had entered into a tenancy agreement with Mr. Alex stated on 15th of October 2022 before Ms. Antara's company renting the premise at Mr. Alex's property. The term in question has outlined all rights and responsibilities of the parties, but unfortunately, there have been instances of rent defaults, as mentioned, which has stipulated in the tenancy agreement dated on the 15th of October, to constitute a breach of terms if the company consecutively fails to pay rent for 2 solid months, due on every 7th day for each month. So from Mr. Alex's perspective, as the owner of the property, in his response to the repeated defaults, he had acted in accordance with the provisions of the agreement regarding non-payment of rents. So it is believed that he has exercised his right to take possession of the premise on the 8th of November 2023, which is after the lapse of the date to be paid. And as far as our knowledge over the matter, it is also important to note that there are no such provisions stated in the terms of the agreement that Mr. Alex will incur the liability to cover for the losses incurred by the company that resulted from the company's own fault, except for the only circumstance outlined under which, namely, he would only be liable in the event the losses are due to the condition of Mr. Alex's property, either the property is undergoing any repairs or straight away being unsafe to the tenants and the visitors. So whichever that prevented the company's business from operating. So other than that, speaking of right, Mr. Alex is definitely not liable for the losses of the 250,000 as claimed by the Miss Antara, incurred by Miss Antara's company. Yeah.
Thank you for addressing my position with respect of the tenancy agreement, Ms. Iza. On top of that,
Sure.
Ms. Aisha and Mr. Arif, I am aware that Antara had paid security deposit for 2,000 to 26,400 ringgit. However, Antara had made late payment for 3 months and had not paid the rent for 2 months. I also need to take a precaution measure to ensure that I will not suffer any loss. I also have a family to be taken care of, Ms. Aisha and Mr. Arif. I know for a fact that my premise is in newly developed shopping area, and I believe Antara will make a profit if its meal is tasty. I am aware that Antara did spend 150,000 ringgit on renovating the premise, but I believe these expenses should not excuse the non-payment of rent. I also understand that financial difficulty can arise, but it is crucial for Antara to adhere to the term we agree upon in our rental agreement. Timely payment ensure the smooth functioning of our arrangement. I get that life can throw curveball. However, my primary concern is to ensure the stability of my premise. It is important for me to have a tenant who respect the term of our agreement and pay the rental, and the rental payment shall be paid on time.
Thank you, Mr. Alex, for your opening statement. If I understand correctly, you are expressing concern about the delays in rent payment and the impact it has had on your financial situation. You have told us that you are aware that Antara had paid a security deposit for 26,400 Malaysian ringgit. You are also emphasizing the significance of the location and potential profitability in the newly developed shopping area. In summary, your main points include the financial strain caused by late payments, the inadequacy of the security deposit, and your perspective on the renovation expenses, not excusing the non-payment of the rent. You have also highlighted your family obligations and the belief that Antara can profit from the favorable location. If I have captured your points accurately, you are seeking a fair resolution that addresses the outstanding rent issues while considering the circumstances presented.
Yes, Miss Aisha, you have captured all of my concern.
Ms. Antara, do you understand the issue from Mr. Alex's perspective?
Yes, Miss Aisha, I understand.
Mr. Arif, please write our agenda for today's session.
All right, Miss Aisha.
All right, there are several issues of concern in our discussion. The delay in rental payment, the non-payment of September and October 2023,
And payment.
of September and October, lockout and vacant possession, the security deposit,
All right, Miss Aisha. Is there anything else anyone would like to add?
Mr. Arif, I think you missed out on one of the issues mentioned by my client, Miss Antara.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Guna. Can you please restate what I've missed, Miss?
The issue is losses suffered and expenses incurred by my client, Miss Antara, for a sum of 250,000 ringgit Malaysia.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Ms. Puna.
No mention, Miss Aisha.
Have I accurately captured all the key issues?
Speaking on behalf of my client, Miss Antara, I believe all the issues have been covered.
Yes, sure. Nothing to add on my part.
Mr. Arif, actually, as I discussed with Mr. Alex prior to this session, I believe Mr. Alex wishes to include the issue on the legal action undertaken by Ms. Antara against him to be discussed among the other agendas, right, Mr. Alex?
Yes, Miss Iza. Other than that, I am fine with the suggested issue.
All right, Ms. Iza and Mr. Alex, Mr. Arif will add it to our list.
Is that all the issue or anything else?
Yes, that's all.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's all.
Okay.
Mr. Arif.
Yes, that's
All
all.
right, everyone. All right, everyone. Thank you to all parties for openly sharing your concerns and engaging in this mediation process. As we near the end of our mediation session, Mr. Arif and I want to express our appreciation for the open and constructive dialogue we have had today. We have truly discussed the issues at hand, and I believe we have made significant progress. Again, I would like to thank everyone for your commitments during this mediation process today.
My pleasure, Miss Aisha. Thanks to all of you for being here too.
Welcome and thank you, everyone.
Thank you all for today's session.
Sure, Ms. Aisha, thank you. Ms. Aisha and Ms. Arif, thank you for today's